Meanwhile, Elon Musk has taken a swipe directly at the bloc's leadership, saying that the union is not even a democracy.
The EU Commission should be disbanded in favor of an elected body, and the EU president should be directly elected. The current system is ruled by bureaucracy, not democracy.
A case in point is the selection of the Commission president. There is no public input, and the candidate is appointed by the European Council, composed of EU state heads. In 2014, the EU introduced a system that should have connected nominations to parliamentary votes, but Ursula von der Leyen's election in 2019 bypassed this system when she was proposed as a compromise candidate. And in 2024, she was nominated once again and chosen under pressure from Germany and France. But to get more on this now, we're going to cross live to John Laughland, a lecturer in politics and history at the Catholic Institute of Higher Studies. Thanks a lot for joining us. What do you think about Elon Musk's claims? Do you think that the EU really is ruled by bureaucracy?
There's absolutely no doubt, but this has been a problem for decades, ever since the European Union was first created, going back to the 1950s when the first European community was created. It's always had an explicitly bureaucratic and non-democratic and even anti-democratic institutional structure. And in recent years, particularly actually since Ursula von der Leyen took over as Commission President, this problem has only become exacerbated because, as you said in your introduction, she, the President of the European Commission, is not elected and has no democratic mandate at all, and very little democratic accountability, because the way that the European Union functions means that, in fact, there is no opposition, there's no institutional resistance or even scrutiny for what the Commission does. Everything that the Commission proposes is voted through by the Council and by the European Parliament. However, I don't agree with Elon Musk at all that the European Commission President should be elected. I'm afraid he's completely misdiagnosed. He's maybe diagnosed the problem correctly, but that's definitely not the right solution. Instead, power should be devolved away from Brussels, back to the nation states, who are the main bearers of democracy, the only bearers of democracy. You can't have democracy in a multinational system, and even less in a bureaucratic one. But if the Commission President and other officials were directly elected, then that would unfortunately only strengthen the already excessive centralising tendencies in Brussels. So I agree with him about the problem now, but I completely disagree with him with his proposed solution.
Well, this giant European bureaucracy, of course, is set on, it seems like, seizing frozen Russian assets, as it's been talking about lately. We heard from Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov that Russia is ready to respond to that. Do you think that Europe is prepared for a Russian response?
I don't think the Russian response is the most important factor, although, of course, the sums we're talking about are gigantic, and therefore, if Russia did respond by, for example, seizing Western assets in Russia or whatever, that, of course, would have a very major effect. So, no, I don't think Europe is factoring that in. I don't think that they have thought about that enough, just as they didn't think enough about the economic consequences of encouraging European companies to withdraw from Russia, a decision which has led to massive transfers of capital from European companies to Russian companies. As European companies have left Russia, they have left behind warehouses and factories and God knows what else, which have been taken over instead by Russian companies. Instead, I think what Europe should be thinking about, but also is not thinking about, is the much bigger issue of what will happen to the Eurozone as a whole and with respect to other countries' sovereign funds. I mean, this to me should be absolutely obvious, independently of whatever Russia does in return. Even if Russia's reprisal is colossal, the fact is that no other country, or for that matter, business, is going to put its money in European banks or in European clearing systems if they start to fear, as they probably already do, and their fears will be confirmed if this money is seized, that they might be next. If you've got large amounts of money to put into safety, you're not going to choose Europe. And it will, this seizure of assets will have a devastating effect on the banking system and on the overall financial architecture of Europe as a whole, and therefore of the whole world. So it's an absolutely extraordinary thing even to contemplate. And yet, I think you're right. Your question implies that they're not thinking about the consequences, and I think you're right.
All right, lecturer in politics and history, John Laughland, thanks a lot for joining us on the program.
Thank you.